Healthy narcissism, what it is, why you need it, and how to keep it from turning toxic. When you hear the word narcissist, you probably think of manipulation, ego, selfishness, and maybe even danger. But here's something most people don't know. Not all narcissism is toxic. Some narcissism is healthy and essential. It's the part of you that says, I matter. I'm proud of myself. I deserve to take up space. I don't have to earn my right to be here. Today, we're going to unpack what healthy narcissism really is, why so many people, especially those raised in trauma or immigrant families, struggle with it, and how to protect this self-worth without slipping into entitlement or ego inflation. Because the truth is, when you don't have healthy narcissism, you disappear. And when it becomes inflated and defensive, you disconnect from others and from your own truth. I'm Dr. Alyona Prikhidko. I'm a therapist and a researcher. I'm working with emotion regulation, trauma, and counseling clients from all over the world. On my channel, I discuss various topics with the aim of helping you understand roots of problems and heal. So if it resonates with you, subscribe and share. So let's break it down. Healthy narcissism. What is it? Psychologically, narcissism exists on a spectrum. At one end, it's pathological narcissism, what we see in narcissistic personality disorder: grandiosity, entitlement, lack of empathy, constant validation seeking. But at the healthy end, narcissism is actually self-love, rooted in secure attachment and emotional development. It's trusting your value even when no one's clapping, expressing your ideas without shrinking, setting limits without guilt, letting yourself be visible. So, in object relations theory, healthy narcissism forms when a child's emotional needs are mirrored and reflected back. You feel seen, you're special, your feelings matter. So these are called self-object needs, and when they are consistently met, the child internalizes a stable sense of self. That's what allows you as an adult to say, I can do this, I belong here, I don't have to shrink just because others are uncomfortable with my light. Healthy narcissism gives you the spine to be authentic, assertive, and emotionally present. When I first came to the US, I was stunned at how easily people talked about themselves. They'd walk into rooms like they owned the space and say things like, I'm great at this, I launched this project, I'm proud of what I've built. And at first, I was really uncomfortable. Because in many cultures, especially Eastern European, Asian, Middle Eastern, or collectivist ones, we're taught don't brag, don't ask for praise. If you're really good, others will notice. Humility protects you from envy, judgment, and shame. So I stayed small. I waited to be recognized. But I kept being passed over for jobs, collaborations, opportunities, and I realized that in American culture, visibility isn't arrogance, it's survival. So here, healthy narcissism is reinforced. From childhood, kids are told, show and tell what makes you unique, dream big, shine. Staying invisible doesn't protect you, it just erases you. So how does this healthy narcissism confidence turn into something toxic? Pathological narcissism isn't self-love. It's a defense against self-loathing. It often starts with a wound. A child who's never mirrored emotionally, only evaluated, a home where love was conditional, be perfect or be punished, or where vulnerability was unsafe, so they built an armor of perfection and control. From an attachment lens, this is often a sign of insecure attachment, where connection felt inconsistent, unsafe, or manipulative. So the child adapts by constructing a grandiose self. I'm the best. If I'm the best, I'll be safe. If I win, I won't be abandoned. If I impress them, I'll finally feel loved. So this fragile identity becomes addicted to admiration, but beneath the surface, there's shame, loneliness, and disconnection. And they can't allow ordinary emotions like sadness, doubt, or grief because that would shatter the mask. Let's look at how this plays out in movies where we can watch narcissism evolve, collapse, or heal. So Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, he begins as a bold, hungry entrepreneur. His self-belief borders on inspiring. But soon his confidence becomes entitlement. He gets addicted to power, to being worshipped, to being above the rules. He can't tolerate limits, and what started as charisma becomes manipulation and emotional detachment. His healthy narcissism collapses into toxic grandiosity. Then Nina Sayers from Black Swan. Nina starts with talent and discipline, but her self-worth is built entirely on approval. She's raised by an overbearing mother, praised for perfection, but never for personhood. She becomes terrified of failure. When her identity is threatened, she spirals into paranoia and self-destruction. So her desire to be the best turns into a fractured psyche. Her story shows what happens when narcissism fuses with trauma and dissociation. Amy Dunn, Gone Girl. Amy is another fascinating case. On the outside, she's brilliant, beautiful, strategic, but inside, her self-worth is fragile and built on revenge and manipulation. So she doesn't seek connection, she seeks control. Her entire persona becomes a performance designed to punish anyone who sees through her. And let's shift gears to a redemptive arc. Barbie starts off adored and confident, but it's shallow, untested self-esteem. When she enters the real world and feels irrelevant and objectified, she begins to unravel. But instead of performing harder, she gets curious, vulnerable, and real. She lets go of the perfect image and chooses to become fully human. That's the growth of mature, embodied narcissism, where self-worth no longer depends on being ideal, but on being real. So these characters show the full arc. Jordan from confidence to collapse, Nina from gifted to shattered, Amy from brilliance to emotional manipulation, and Barbie from plastic perfection to grounded power. Narcissism is not inherently bad. It's what we do with it and whether we use it to connect or to protect. How do we keep narcissism healthy? How do we develop or protect healthy narcissism without crossing into toxic patterns? Here's how. First of all, you need to build inner validation before outer praise. Mirror yourself. Praise yourself in quiet moments, not just public ones. Say, I handled that well. I like who I'm becoming. Second, perform less, feel more. If you're always on, always polished, always impressive, ask, am I connecting or performing? Third, allow yourself to be ordinary. Let go of the panic around being average. You can rest, you can fail, you can not be the best and still be very worthy. 4. Admire others without losing yourself. Celebrate others without shrinking. Let their light activate, not threaten your own. 5. Stay grounded in the body. Confidence lives in the body, not the mask. Ask, does this feel real or inflated? Use breath, movement, and presence to recalibrate. 6. Know when you're seeking mirroring. You're allowed to want to be seen, but check, are you asking for connection or applause? You are totally allowed to feel proud of yourself, to say, I did something good, and let the truth live in your body. That is not narcissism. That is emotional health. And if your childhood, your culture, your trauma taught you to stay small, it's definitely time to rewire that. Healthy narcissism gives you the ability to take up space, speak your truth, and stand tall without apology. But it also keeps you soft enough to say, I don't need to be above anyone. I just refuse to be beneath them. It's a balance between confidence and humility, pride and openness, visibility and humanity. So if you've been taught to stay humble to the point of invisibility, this is your invitation to take up space with kindness. Not to impress, but to express. Let's open the comments. What's something you're proud of but rarely say out loud? And if you're healing from a family, a system, or a society that taught you to stay small, here's your permission to speak, to shine, to own your space without any apology. That is healthy narcissism, and the world needs more of it.